Com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I want to say hello to everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I thought was really interesting. It has to do with Katt Williams and Shannon Sharpe, and there was this interesting anti-Black conspiracy theory that somebody shared with me. And again, I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm going to explain to you why I took the time to talk about it because I think it's worth discussing. I really think that it's worth sort of exploring here. There is a belief that perhaps there was a reason why Katt Williams was allowed to go to YouTube and really destroy so many other Black men. In fact, actually, in case you don't know, this interview literally broke records on YouTube. This interview was the second highest viewed YouTube video in history. And that means he's right up there, with Mr. Beast and everybody else in terms of, I think, the highest YouTube interview. So maybe Mr. Beast has done other content that's bigger than interviews, but I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was worth kind of exploring because I don't think it's out of the question. Now, do me a favor as you get started, as you come in. First of all, give me a yes. Let me know you can hear me okay. That's the first thing. So give me a yes in the chat. Let me know you can hear me. Number two, don't forget this podcast is on Spotify. So if you go to Spotify, look up my name, Boyce Watkins, you can find the Dr. Boyce Breakdown. That's the name of my podcast. Number three, if you hang on to the end of the video, I will give you a stock that I am buying, a stock that I believe in, and a stock that I think will make you money in the next 3 to 5 years. So if you are an investor, which every Black person should be investing, everybody should be building wealth. Give me a yes if you are a wealth builder. Give me a yes if you are good with building for your family and building for the next generation. So, so let's talk about this, right? So with this interview, there's been a lot of sort of, I guess, an aftermath to the interview. It was very powerful. Since that time, you've seen other people do what I would consider to be almost like a copycat sort of thing, where they sort of started doing their own beefing and attacking and fighting and everything else. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not really 100% sure how I feel about seeing a lot of 50-year-old men, Black men, going at each other on the internet. Trying to get views, trying to make money, everything else. It's all about the money, right? So beef makes money. And as I talked to you guys about today in our Black Wealth reflection, we're doing a financial consciousness training right now, which you can find, by the way, at drboyceelevate.com. And in that training, in that consciousness training, we were talking about the fact that beef is typically not good for your economics, as a community. It might be good for one person's economics, right? If everybody gets burned down and destroyed, then the person who becomes the winner, they do well. That one last person standing, they always benefit. But then there are lots of other casualties that have to occur. So it can become a net loss for a community. Now, with that said, though, I'm going to tell you this. One thing that got my attention was when Judge Joe Brown actually they asked him about the interview, and he was interviewing with some young lady. I don't know her name, but they asked Judge Brown about the interview, what he thought about it. And I know how Judge Brown sort of thinks. I know Judge Joe Brown feels that there are definitely people in Hollywood that are selling out, that there are some significant problems in Hollywood in terms of how things are done. And also that Black people are not portrayed in the best light. Well, one thing Judge Brown said that was really interesting to me was he actually was the first person I saw who made reference to the possible conspiracy. He's the one who actually said, when you see somebody that is allowed, remember Shannon Sharpe, he's connected to the NFL and to, mainstream television, everything else. And so Judge Joe Brown said something that really made me think. I hadn't heard anybody else say this. He said, why was he allowed to even have this interview that was sort of, tearing down all these Black men in Hollywood, right? Because remember, Katt Williams, I mean, he had an AK-47. He was boop, 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 just taking down everybody. And those interviews, honestly, you got to be skeptical because anytime anybody tells a story where they're always the hero, just know that that's probably not a true story, right? Anytime somebody tells a story where they were always the hero and always the good guy, that's usually not a true story, right? So what happens is you had other people like Corey Holcomb and some others who told a different story, and I think all those stories are interesting. I don't think that any one story should dominate all the other stories. I think that every story needs to be heard. Everybody has a right to speak. And I don't know, give me a yes if you agree that all these men that Katt was talking about, including himself, they're all talented. Everybody has, there's a space for Ricky Smiley, there's a space for Steve Harvey, there's a space for Kevin Hart, there's a space for all the other people that he talked about. I don't think, I've never been offended by their existence to the point where I felt that annihilation was completely necessary. So anyway, so with that said, though, what do you think? I mean, I read this. Let me read this to you. This is actually somebody sent this to me. Somebody on my team sent this to me, and it was written from a platform called Affirmations for Black People. And they said this. So here's I'm gonna read this to you, and you tell me what you think. It says, "When a black entertainer spends hours tearing other black entertainers down, it will always be funny, especially when it's Katt Williams. This man is a genius comedian." But when it gets recorded, gets record breaking views and saves, something in you has to say, Because has anybody, give me a yes if you've heard of the algorithm. Has anybody heard about the YouTube algorithm? Give me a yes if you've heard about the algorithm and if you know what that means when I reference the algorithm. Everybody give me a yes if you have heard people talk about the YouTube algorithm and how the algorithm drives views, how they decide there are these digital gods, the YouTube gods who make a decision as to who is going to get seen and who's not going to get seen. So give me a yes if you know about the algorithm, because if you don't, I can explain it to you very, very quickly. So okay, I see the yeses. All right. So and I see some no's. All right. So the algorithm basically is something that says that if they don't want you to be heard, you're not gonna get heard. If they don't want your video to be seen, your video won't be seen. You could be doing the hottest, coolest stuff ever, and they will make sure you're not seen. They use the algorithm against Farrakhan, for example. Everybody wants to see Farrakhan's content. A lot of people do. But they just said, we don't want Farrakhan to be seen. So they define Farrakhan as a dangerous man. And then next thing you know, Farrakhan is gone. And so with this video, one thing you got to understand is that a lot of times we think things are organic, right? But remember, Katt Williams made reference to what he refers to as industry plants. He says, Kevin Hart's a plant. Well, what is a plant? What is a plant? A plant is something that does not rise organically. It's something that somebody who has power, somebody who is in control of the platform, decides that that person or that content is going to be seen by everybody. Give me a yes if you're following what I'm saying. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about here. So to some extent, here's the thing about plants, though. If they don't want something to be seen, they can make sure it's not seen. This happened during the pandemic. This happened. Anybody remember during the pandemic how there were people who had big, powerful platforms, millions of followers, content that everybody wanted to see, and then suddenly they would just disappear? Like Andrew Tate. Anybody seen Andrew Tate lately? You see, I mean, he used to be everywhere. What's the other guy? The big fat guy who did the whole thing with the little kids and they sued him. You know what I'm talking about. I forgot his name. Used to be everywhere. You know what I'm talking about. Alex Jones. Used to be everywhere. Now you don't really see Alex Jones like that. You don't see Andrew Tate like that. Well, that's because of the algorithm. The algorithm says if we want you to be seen, everybody will see you. If we don't want anybody to see you, you won't be seen. So what this person's saying, which is really interesting, I really want to give respect to their perspective, is that when Katt Williams talks about industry plants, there are people who believe that this interview may have been an industry plant. That there may be some people who said, you know what, and Judge Joe Brown, shout out to him. This is not my idea. This is something I'm just exploring here out loud to kind of think about this. Judge Joe Brown is the one who said that. Judge Joe Brown said something that I think it kind of confused the woman he was talking to, because she was she was team Katt Williams, like a lot of us are. I like Katt. I don't know him, but my friend Willie D, he knows him, and Willie talked to him, and Katt seems like a cool guy. But Judge Joe Brown was one of the first people to say, when you see a black man that is given that much space, that much wiggle room, that much of a platform, that many views to take down other black people, that is typically not an accident. Because I can tell you that the algorithm gods, the YouTube gods, if they wanted to make sure that video only got 20,000 views, they could have done that. They could have done that. I mean, look at this right now. For example, I have 2 channels that have over 500,000 views or 500,000 subscribers. Two channels, a 500,000 subscribers. I've gotten 500 million views total on different platforms on our different channels. When I've said things that were controversial or highly racial, they shadow ban it. They seriously, how many? A lot of y'all didn't even get a notification when you came in here. You're here because maybe I sent you a text because I had to work around this system, right? So literally, this same conversation could have been had on a lot of platforms by a lot of people and wouldn't have gotten nearly as many views as it did in this particular space. So typically in many cases, and what Joe Brown was referencing, and I don't doubt that there could be some truth to this, is that there's somebody who pushed a button and said, let's get this sucker out here. Let's get this on the For You page. Let's get this out there where everybody's going to see it. And the question becomes, and this is a question that I asked this, a couple other people asked this, and they said, what does the Black community gain when a Black man goes on the platform, does the second highest viewed YouTube interview of all time, and most of the content is very negative toward other Black people? Do you think that a Farrakhan interview would have gotten 62 million views? What do y'all think? If he's speaking in a way that's empowering Black people, building up Black people, do you think that a Farrakhan interview would have gotten 60 million views, 10 million, 20 million? What do you think? Or do you think they would have said, "Oh, no, 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 he's dangerous. We don't want him. We don't want him. We don't want people. We don't want Black people to hear from him because he's anti-Semitic and he's racist." Anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Please do that because I'm one of those people working around the algorithm. So hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe. Also, at the end of the video, I'll give you the stock pick that I like for this week. And also, if you want to get wealth training for your kids and you want them to get ahead economically, we have a whole Black business school for children. We can send you some resources. Just text the word youth, YOUTH, youth to 87948. Text youth to 87948. We're getting our kids ready for the next generation so they can be the economic gods. I want them to be the owners. I want them to be the investors. I want them to be the wealth builders. And so that's what we're doing. So just text the word youth to 87948 and we'll get your kids ready for the war. The war is going to happen if your child is 3. The war is going to start when they're about 23. So you got 20 years to get ready. I want you to start getting ready now. Text the word youth to 87948. Okay, so anyway, let me finish reading this comment. This comment is from somebody who's questioning the authenticity of an interview that magically gets 62 million views when it was a good interview, but it wasn't like great interviews haven't been done. It wasn't like Katt Williams hasn't been interviewed on other platforms, sometimes platforms bigger than this. It's not as if Katt wasn't always funny. It's not as if there wasn't always controversial content out there. But he wondered, he said, how did this interview become the second highest viewed interview in the history of YouTube? So they said this, they said, so when a Black entertainer spends hours tearing down other Black entertainers, it will always be funny, especially when it's Katt Williams. This man is a genius comedian. But when it gets record-breaking views and saves, something in you has to go, I loved watching Kevin Hart shine. He's such a beacon of hope in the city of Philadelphia for so many artists here. A city that needs, so I think this person's from Philly, a city that needs its Black male heroes. We love Kevin Hart and know any success Kevin has, he deserves it. He's always been funny and works hard. I will always bat my eye when someone spends their energy undermining a Black man's success. Our energy has such better uses of its time. Now, the counter argument to that could be maybe from Katt that Kevin gets the perception of success because Kevin has bent over and folded to the establishment in inappropriate ways, right? So you can hear both sides of that argument, but I think it's interesting to hear this perspective. He says here also, the continued fun and joy we feel when Black men are being quote unquote taken down should be studied. Like, why do we enjoy watching great Black men fall? I think that's a great question. You know, I've seen people, I remember seeing Yvette Carnell and some others just attacking Dr. Claude Anderson, an older guy who's only done his best to help Black folks. She's attacked Farrakhan, you know, stuff like that. Why do we get such a thrill out of that? Why would anybody enjoy watching somebody's legacy be destroyed and mutilated? Why would somebody enjoy watching a Black person struggle and suffer in that way? I think that's a great question. It's a psychological thing that's happening to the image of the Black man online right now. My page fights against that. This feels like we are going backward, just in my opinion. What do you think? So they signed it, a Kevin Hart fan, and this is affirmations for Black. I can't see the rest of it. It's affirmations for Black, maybe a Black people, Black men, something like that. I'm not sure, but I want to give them credit for their remarks, and I like the energy behind their statement. So again, I don't know. Give me a yes or no. Do you think that it was just magic coincidence that this video got, the second highest number of views for any YouTube interview in YouTube history? Do you think that it was just the quality of the interview that did it? Do you think that it was that somebody pushed a button? Do you think one of the algorithm gods decided that it would get out there? Because one thing we know about the algorithm gods is that if they don't want someone to see something, they can make sure they don't see it. There are people that were complaining all throughout the pandemic. They said, wait, all my videos were getting 1 million views a piece, and then suddenly they're dropping down to 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000, right? Or my channel used to send out notifications to all my subscribers. Now the notifications don't go out. And I really think that there is typically some sort of agenda. We know that during the pandemic there was clearly an agenda, right? There was an agenda, get your shot, so that Pfizer and Merck and all these other companies can make money. The question becomes to me, what's the agenda now? If there is an agenda, is there a benefit to Black people when Black people are attacking other Black people in public and it becomes the biggest spectacle in the entire Black community? Could a Farrakhan interview, could a Dr. Claude Anderson interview have gotten 62 million views if Dr. Anderson is empowering Black people and telling us how great Black people can be and all the great things that we can do together? Or would that be seen as hate speech, right? We have this interesting thing where they will define anything that's Black and empowering as hate speech, but then when you're hating Black people, when it's a Black on Black crime, Black on Black anger, Black on Black animosity, then it's all of them that's just entertainment. That's fun to watch, right? So I personally think that there is something to it. I think there's something to think about, something to consider. And again, I'm not telling you what to think. I'm just encouraging you to think for yourself. All right. So I promise you a stock that I like right now. If you could do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And also, if you want to take a look at our Black Stock Market Weekend, where I broke down an 11-step process for selecting stocks to your portfolio. You don't have to be scared to invest. I just want you to do it because it's necessary for your family. You got inflation out here. You got the corporations are cutting jobs every day. I want your kids to be ready for the future. I want you to be prepared too. So just go to the drboycemethod.com, the drboycemethod.com, if you'd like to take a look at that. Everything's been steeply discounted. You can take a look at that. I'm a finance professor, by the way, in case you don't know. My PhD's in finance. All right, so the ticker symbol that I like right now is a company called Heritage Global. Heritage Global, it's a bank. The ticker symbol is HGBL. 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 And that's a stock that I've just bought just a few minutes ago. Again, most of these assets that I select are stocks that I believe are going to do well over the next 3 to 5 years. Investing is not a sprint; it is a marathon. I want you to, steady wins the race. So feel free to go to drboycestocks.com if you want to take a look at some of the other stocks that I pick for students every single week. drboycestocks.com, and you can also text the word stock to 87948. That's stock to 87948, and I'll send you a notification when I do a profit alert. All right, guys. So that's pretty much it. Again, no disrespect no disrespect to Shannon Sharpe, no disrespect to Katt Williams. And actually, you know what? I see some of your questions. So let me answer a few of your questions. These are good questions here. Crimson Jack says, are you saying Katt had no right to expose theft of his material? And no, I think he has a perfect right to do that. I absolutely positively would never say he doesn't have a right to do anything. Who am I to tell Katt Williams he can't be Katt Williams? What I will say, though, Crimson Jack, is that remember that their accusations go in both directions. They go in both directions. So Corey Holcomb, I believe, and some other comedians, Corey Holcomb. Remember, Corey and I we got sort of a beef, but I'm not really beefing with people online like that. So Corey and I, we resolved our beef. So Corey, I am a fan of his. I respect him. I support him. I'd rather turn my enemy into a friend, and I like this guy a lot. So I want to make that clear. But Corey actually said that Katt Williams stole a joke, right? So if you want to get into stealing jokes, did y'all see that? How many of y'all saw that? Give me a yes or no if you saw that. He said that you stole a joke from JB Smooth, right? And then there becomes that bigger question of, okay, how, are we really benefiting from watching 50-something-year-old men talk about jokes that were stolen from him 30 years ago? And I'd like to really understand what happened with Katt Williams' career that caused him to fall out of favor. What really happened? I mean, is it because you were such a revolutionary that they cut you off, or is it because of what some people have said? I have had friends and fans of Katt Williams. Let's just be honest with you right now. I've had friends and fans of Katt Williams, people who love him, people who know him directly. I know a couple of people who know him, who like him, who respect and support him, who said, I would not go to a Katt Williams show. This is just me being honest with you. They said, I would not go to a Katt Williams show. They said, because we don't know if that dude's going to show up. That's what they said. Get mad, but don't get mad at the messenger. Get mad at the message. That's what they said. So I would like to just understand just what happened here, right? I'm not saying that he didn't deserve success. I'm saying Hollywood always likes money. Entertainment industry, they love money. So I'm trying to understand what happened here. You're funny. You're good. You're talented. You can fill up an arena. Why isn't somebody signing you to a massive contract to have you do a tour? Again, just my thought. This was just what I was told. All right, let me see here. Let's see. Benefits is all entertainment, brother. Please stop it. No, it's not just entertainment. It's deeper than entertainment. Not only Corey Holcomb accused Katt of stealing jokes, but so did TK Kirkland. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. So that's the thing, right? When you throw accusations around at other people, just know it kind of makes you open to criticism too. Then suddenly everybody that's going to accuse you is going to start throwing stuff back. And then everybody's just throwing stuff at each other. And I just kind of think that's not a good cycle to get into. It's like gang banging. You know, if you kill somebody gonna come kill you. Hey, y'all saw Boys in the Hood. The Hollywood sex thing might have a lot to do with it. Too many people have spoken on these events. That's true, King Breeze. That's true. Hollywood is a funny place. There's some hanky-panky weirdo stuff going on in Hollywood. I paid for tickets years ago. He did not show. Building was packed to the max. See, Junez, thank you. See, there's an honest fan. And I don't think she has an agenda against Katt. She's not trying to be no hater. She's not like, I can't stand him. And neither. She ain't doing that. She's being honest. She said she bought tickets and the dude didn't show up. So I think Katt, when people that say that he needs to take responsibility and accountability too, those people are right. Is it not possible? Give me a yes or no. Do you think it's possible that he's right and they're right? Or must it be, win or lose? Must it be either he's right or they're wrong or vice versa or whatever, right? No, maybe they're all right. Maybe they all have a point. All right, so let's see here. There's a lot of comedians that I would not go see. That doesn't mean that they're not good at what they do. I agree, Eunice. Is that he won't put, let's see here. The people saying he's stealing the jokes ain't funny as funny as he is. That's true. I agree with that, Sabri. Benefit, he's a comedian. It's called entertainment. Okay, he's not here to solve economic or political issues. Absolutely. Entertainers should not be involved in politics at that level. And they always want to talk to the entertainers about the black community, which is crazy. Is the ticker HGBL? Yes, Camera, it is. It is HGBL. That's Heritage Global. That is my stock for today. Somebody type that in so everybody can see it. Let's see here. Katt Williams never claimed to be the honest minister. He didn't. But still though, if he is telling a story and making an accusation, then there is an implied assumption that he is being honest, right? That's the assumption that should be leaned on. Unless it's like you shouldn't take anything seriously that he said, and that a lot of what he said isn't true. In which case, then okay, that nullifies everything that you might believe about that interview, right? So I think that's kind of a thing to kind of think about. All right. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here, guys. So I hope this discussion was interesting or enough for you to give you some food for thought. I'm not here to tell you what to think about the interview. It was good. I enjoyed it. I watched the whole thing, the entire thing. I sped it up. What I do, my little trick on YouTube videos, you speed them up to like 175% or something. You can get through it. So I got through about 90%, 95% of it. I was impressed by it. I didn't quite understand why I got 62 million views because I've seen other interviews that are just as impactful that didn't get those same numbers. And so I do think that there's something to what Judge Joe Brown said and also to what this brother said, whose comment I read earlier. It makes me wonder, is there an agenda? Because there's always an agenda. There's somebody always pushing these buttons. And these algorithms are very real and they do decide who's going to get fame and who's not, right? Just like in Hollywood, just like the same way Katt said Kevin Hart was an industry plant, maybe he is. Well, there are also plants on digital distribution. There's plants on YouTube. There's plants on Instagram. There are people and platforms that they say, we're going to make sure everybody sees this. And literally the algorithm gods can push a button and decide everybody's going to see something, or they can decide nobody's going to see it. Again, that's why Andrew Tate disappeared. That's why Alex Jones disappeared. So this is something to consider. Sean King has disappeared. Y'all saw what happened to Sean King. Sean King, you're supporting the Palestinians. We don't like that. we know who's paying our bills, so you're out of here, buddy. And that's what they did, right? So Sean King goes from having 5 million followers on Instagram or whatever number he had to literally talking on a Telegram platform that has maybe 80,000 followers, right? 80,000. That's it. 80,000 is not a big number. So this is what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if the algorithm gods played some part in making this the most talked about interview in the entire Black community, when there are a lot of other things we could probably talk about that might be more productive. I'm not really sure. So anyway, I'm out of here, guys. If you could please hit that thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, if you want to receive profit alerts on stocks that I like, just text the word stock to 87948. Text stock to 87948. And I will see you guys soon. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for listening. Peace.